Hi everyone, I'm here. Oh my gosh, I just realized I forgot to turn on the microphone. I think that you can hear me a lot better if I use this fancy mobile mic that my daughter rigged me up with. I may be about a minute early, but I wanted to make sure that I got online. I see one person is with me. And if you could do me a favor, if you can give me a thumbs up or comment on whether you can hear me or not. Hi, Maria. That would help a lot. I'm also going to turn on my iPad because it's a lot easier for me to actually see you. Hi, Christine from Minnesota. It's nice to see you here with me. Thank you for being here. A couple things about Facebook Live. Yay, can you guys hear me okay? Just leave me a comment. Yes, yay, yay, yay. I've got more wires hooked up here. It is crazy. Hi, Sue from Wisconsin and Gail. Oh, it's so great to see all you guys here with me. Hi, Christine. Welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. My name is Lisa Curcio, and I'm excited to have Spotlight with Lisa with you tonight. I've got a fun project I'm going to share with you. A couple things about Facebook Live before we get started. I will try to shout out and say hi to as many of you as I can. I love seeing you here. Hi, Tammy and Casey and Marion. But you know, to be quite honest, if I do that and I don't stamp, then we don't get much done other than socializing. But as a reassurance, please remember that I read every single comment that you write here during this live event. So I come back and I read and I comment or I like every single one so that you know I've been here. So please, if I don't mention you by name, please don't be offended. It's simply because there's so many of you, but you're here to watch me stamp and give you some good ideas. So I want to make sure that we get to that. All right. Facebook Live, you know, we're subject to technology, right? So if you lose me, don't panic. Close your app if you're on an iPad or an iPhone, and then come back in. That usually fixes it. If for some reason, God forbid, I lose you, don't panic. I will come back and finish. I'm very grateful that it's never happened before. Linda says, glad you're on. You're ready to learn. Oh, I hope I can teach you something. Hi, Sherry from Texas. Okay, I'm looking at my notes really quick. You know what? How many of you have the new catalog already? I'm reaching for it because I forgot to pull it out. Bear with me. If you have the new catalog, give me a thumbs up or a love, because I don't know about you, but I absolutely, absolutely love this catalog. Hi, Becky. You know, I'll tell you what, every year I go crazy and I flag up all the pages. I'm just giving you guys a few minutes to get on and get a good connection. So I'm just basically doing a small stall. If you don't have a catalog and you don't have a demonstrator, I would be thrilled to send you one for free. Just leave me a comment down below. There's lots of great things in here I know that you're going to love. All right, so I've talked to you a little bit how Facebook works, a little bit about commenting. Hi, Patty. Hi, Christine, Shannon. Please don't be offended if I don't call you out by name. And I will do my very best to make sure that I like and comment every single one when we're done. Okay, I've got my iPad going here. I want to make sure that I do that because I find it's a lot easier for me to comment on your questions as we're going. The best part about this is it's interactive, right? So I've got to turn it on to make sure that I'm there. All right, and one other thing that's really, really important is that there's a delay on Facebook. So there's about 8 to 10 seconds between when I'm speaking and when you're actually hearing it, and vice versa. So if I don't get your question right away, it's probably because I've moved on a little bit and that I missed you. So I promise I will get back to you. All right, so I am just looking here and I want to make sure I have no sound because there's nothing worse than having sound in two places. Okay, I'm setting that iPad off to the side. I only have so much room in this area, so bear with me. All right. We're here. Let's get stamping, all right? I'm going to flip you down, and in the meantime, it's going to be a really ugly view. Hi, Brooke. Hi, Beverly. Hi, Lynn. Bear with me. So I'm going to flip you around. And this is where I told you get a really ugly shot of my punch wall. I don't know about you, but I love my punches, so that's not necessarily an ugly view. Going to turn on a little extra light here. This thing is temperamental with me, okay? I'm gonna make sure I've got you pretty centered. I think we're good there. I wanna make sure I'm not in too close. Okay, I think we're good. All right, I'm moving my iPad over just a little bit so I can make sure I get to all your questions. All right, are we ready? All right, let me show you what we're gonna use tonight. We're gonna use the Mixed Drinks Stamp Set, oh so much fun. I'm really, really looking forward to this. This also happens to be the stamp set that's included with my studio stamps in the mail that it actually starts today. And I'll talk to you about that. And I've got the cards to show you. I wanted to show those to you already. So this is what we're going to use. I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. I don't know, I'm hoping I'm teaching some of you a technique you haven't seen. I think you're going to be pretty excited to learn something different. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to start with a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This measures 4 1/4 by 11. I am a big fan of my paper trimmer, and the reason I'm going to use it tonight is to score. Now the dark blade is for cutting. Hola Lydia, and the light blade is for scoring. So cutting and scoring. I'm not going to cut because it's already cut, but I want to score it. And the reason I'm going to score it versus folding it is I find that the cardstock, when it's really long like this, that I get a little bit of like what I call like cracking or along the edge. And I don't know, I'm kind of picky. And you might say I'm a little A-type personality. It's okay, you still like me, right? So 5 1/2 is the halfway mark, and this ledge across the top with the Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer is fabulous because it makes sure everything's nice and straight. And then I'm just going to score. So that's going to give me that score line here, and then I'm going to fold that in half. Set that aside. And I am a big fan of my bone folder. Here it is. Again, I'm working within a small amount of space, so bear with me here. So bone folder gives me that nice crisp edge on my card, so I just like to use that. This is going to be the base of our card. I'm not going to do much more with that. I'm also going to layer it with a piece of crumb cake cardstock, but I'm not going to do that just yet because I'm going to show you a tip. Typically when you're stamping, you build from the bottom up. Hi Bonnie, hi Julie, hi Brooke. But today I want to show you a tip that if you have other layers on top of here, it's really best to wait. All right, so I'm going to set these two pieces aside, and don't worry, I'm going to give you all the cutting dimensions and a nice picture of this project here at the end. I'll make sure I post it here all for you guys. All right, so here we go. We've got a piece of crushed curry cardstock. I have mounted the images that I want to use, and one of them happens to be this. I hope you guys can see this. It may look like clouds to you, but it's actually in the stamp set. It's actually like representative of the foam for the beer stein or for the top of the glass, and we're going to use it for something a little bit different. We're going to use it for a background. A lot of times, you may not have the right tones of designer series paper. Is your sound okay? Yes, some people said your sound is going in and out. Uh-oh. If you guys can hear me, I need some thumbs up because I would hate to have you not be able to hear me. That's not good. I know I've got my mic on, and I'm assuming the sound is the same. Okay, darn it all. Don't you love technology? All right, back to this. Oftentimes, you can use the pieces in your stamp set to help create a background, especially when you don't have designer series papers that match a project that you want to create. Okay, the rest of you can hear me. I can see the thumbs up. Thank you. If you're having problems with the technical part, the audio, leave the app and come back in, okay? I'm using Whisper White ink pad. This is a craft-based ink. It's very slowed to dry. It was actually designed to use on fabric or for heat embossing, but I'm actually going to use it to do a little bit of a background here on this crushed curry piece. Now, the one thing you need to know about this is if you're going to use it first before you do the rest of the work on your card, because the longer it sits to air dry, the better it's actually going to be. So I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to create, just my own little pattern paper, and I'm going to do every which way on here. I'm going to do some up and some down, and you're going to see how I'm actually stamping on the paper and off the paper. You know, when you use designer series paper, the one thing you always know is that the pattern extends well past where you cut it. So it looks like a wallpaper effect. Now that might be kind of hard to see on the camera because of the light, but we've got now our background. Oh, a couple of you kept telling me that the video and the sound keep getting interrupted. Darn, but I don't think that's happening to all of you. So I'm using my Stamp and Scrub Off camera. So this is my wet side, and this is my dry side. And whenever you're using craft ink especially, make sure you get that off your stamp right away. So I'm gonna set that aside. I'm gonna close this up. I'm not gonna need that again. And I'm gonna set this piece that we have stamped aside. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is I've got a piece of Whisper White cardstock. And I'm going to do a little bit of die cutting, and I am using the Stitched Shapes framelets. Okay, there's squares, circles, and ovals all in one package. US price is $30. I'll tell you what, it is worth every single dime. And I love it because you get all the shapes in one package. So you don't ever have to worry about not having a circle when you had a square, that kind of thing. Now, for those of you that are watching my video for the first time, you're probably wondering what this black thing is. And so for those of you that this is a repeat, bear with me. This is a piece of magnet sheet. You can get these at the home improvement store. I think I got mine at either Lowe's or Home Depot. No, that's not a plug. I'm just telling you where I got them. I cut them to mimic the size of cardboard that actually comes inside this envelope from Stampin' Up! When you get your framelets. That Scotch tape that's on there is super, super sticky, but I find that if you're not careful pulling them on and off, that you can actually bend the framelit. So I want to make sure that I put them on something that's easy for me to lift them and put them on and off. And so all I did was make this one double-sided. All right, isn't that fun? Easy way. The other thing is I number mine, or you can letter them. Now, the reason I do that is because when I recreate a project, I often don't know which one I used. So I can actually write on my little recipe, I used Stitch Squares Framelit number 4 or number 2. This way I don't have to remeasure and figure out which one I actually used on the project. So that's just another great tip for you. We're going to go over here to the big shot, so I hope I'm not making you dizzy. Here we go, over there. I've got my big shot. Now let's talk a little bit about our big shot. I think you guys can see me pretty good. Yep, I think you can. All right. Do your mats look like this? They've got like a nice little warp to them. They're not perfectly straight anymore. You know what? Two things. A, that's great because that means you're using them. And second, it means that, well, you got to keep flipping them around. So once what was on the bottom should then be on the top. So don't be afraid to interchange these and to turn them. Do you see how this one's kind of scooped a little bit? I've used it just a little bit too many times this way up. So I need to switch it and go down. All right, so, but you may find what happens is, especially because I'm using the magnetic platform, love that to help hold my dies in place. But when this starts to bow, you know what happens is it slips, right? You've had that happen. You see how it just kind of doesn't want to stay exactly where I want it, especially with the smaller dies. Do you see this here? This is a Post-it note flag. If you don't have the flags, the Post-it notes themselves work great. Take your die and your cardstock, tack it in place. That's going to hold it there. Believe it or not, it works like a charm. Other clear mat is going to go over the top, and then you're going to crank this through. And you know your big shot makes all kinds of nasty noises and crackling. Ugh, it's enough to make you kind of worry if it came out okay. I promise it did. All right, so here we go. We've got our piece. I'm going to slide you back over here. I'm trying not to make you too dizzy, all right? Want to make sure I've got you anchored in. There you go. And I'm going to take that off. And here's the beauty. I can actually save this and reuse it because it's still kind of sticky. I'm going to stick that back on my big shot where it came from. So I'm going to discard that. And because these are stitched shaped framelets, that stitching, that's going to make it look, you went through all that fussiness of putting it through the sewing machine, but you didn't. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Is all part of the framelit. So just make sure when you pop them out, you're going from the front to the back so that you don't rip it. All right, so now we've got our square. I'm going to set that aside. We're going to do some stamping on here. This comes the fun part. Ready? I'm using Memento ink. Now, this is very much a Lisa thing. So if you don't like this, hi, Gina. Hi, Brenda. Oh, so glad to see so many of you here. Kathy and Cindy, yay. All right, I like Memento when I'm using photopolymer. Photopolymer means the stamp is completely clear. There is no red rubber on it. Love these because they're easy to position. I find Memento ink is a lot easier on my photopolymer stamps. It doesn't stain them as much when it comes to the black, but there's nothing wrong with using the basic black archival ink. Again, this is just a Lisa thing. So I'm going to ink up the cup base from that stamp set, and I am going to stamp that here near the bottom. Now I have to tell you, the phone and the tripod and everything is in the way. You guys are going to give me a little grace here, right? All right, so there we go. We've got the top. Here's my scrub, my wet and my dry. Remember that little foam top that we used to do the background? Well, we're going to use that again. I'm going to ink that out. Here's the beauty of photopolymer. Don't you love that it just turns the same color of your ink? Okay, am I getting close, guys? Because I cannot see. All right, we're just going to go for it. Oh, that's pretty close. It's not perfect, but I got a perfect one. I'll show you. All right, and then a cherry. This is all part of that same stamp set. All right, so I'm gonna tap, 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 and this is gonna go right on the top here. All right, and now I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna cover this up. I'm not gonna need this again for a few minutes, and I'm gonna switch over now to my real red ink pad because I wanna fill that cherry. Believe it or not, this stamp set includes a really, really cute image that actually does that for you. So if you don't have a marker, you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to tap gently, and there's a little dip in it to indicate where the top is. I'm going to make sure I got that inked well, and I'm going to fill that in. Okay, so now I've got my cherry, wet and dry, and now I'm going to move over to crushed curry. By the way, Studio Stamps in the mail this month includes the crushed curry and the berry burst ink pads and this stamp set, okay? We'll talk a little bit more about that. But the crushed curry is what I'm gonna use here for my straw. Okay, who wants to hear a funny story and who can relate to this? Brand new ink pad. Do you see how beautiful it is? And it's super juicy. Let's ask Lisa why she has a brand new ink pad. The reason is because Lisa went to re-ink her old crushed curry pad and used a different ink refill. I used Daffodil Delight on top of it and made the most disgusting color you have ever seen. So I ditched it. Yes, it was a $6.50 mistake that I probably hope not to make again for a long time. And yes, that's not the first time that's happened. It's happened before, and I'll tell you what, it makes me so mad. So yeah, be really careful when you refill your pads, especially if you're looking at the bottles, that you don't get their colors mixed up, especially with the yellows and the blues. Sometimes they look really close. The little straw, the shorter straw is included. All right, that's all part of the stamp set. Oh, again, really juicy. Let's make sure I'm not too juicy. Okay, no, I'm good. Do you see how one end of the straw here is unfinished? So I want to make sure that end is going to go down inside my cup. All right, so I'm going to come right down here to the side, and I'm using a clear straw. Okay, so my clear straw is coming out of my little milkshake. Isn't that cute? All right, so bear with me now. We're going to give this a little bit of a filler because it needs some color, don't you think? All right, so I'm switching now to crumb cake. And I bet some of you know this, but one stamp pad can actually create multiple shades of color. And the reason is simply because of the pigmentation. So I'm going to ink this up. So I'm just going to show you here, up here at the top. So here is the original shade, and then it gets lighter and lighter. The darker the pad, the more shades you can make. This is a great tip so that it doesn't allow you to waste your money on ink pads where they're super closely related in size. So make sure if the pads can create multiple shades, you're not buying two that are closely related when you can actually stamp off a layer to get the shade you need. I hope that makes sense. So let me show you what I mean. I'm inking up the actual fill for this glass. That's all part of the stamp set. I'm stamping off a layer of ink on my scratch paper, and then I am going to fill this cup. All right, so now I have, look, chocolate, my very favorite in the whole world. You guys, I just saw my mom. She's on the live. Hi, Mom. Every girl needs her mom or a friend or a family member as a cheerleader, so I've got mine. She's a great critic. But those that know me know that I absolutely love chocolate, have a huge passion for chocolate. All right, so now our little area is just about done. But I'll tell you what, I thought my glass was kind of floating. So I wanted to create a little bit of a floor or like a tabletop area for it. So stamp pad, again, it's closed. I flipped it upside down. I gave it a little bit of a squeeze, and then I opened it up. Inside the lid now, I've actually squeezed ink from here to here to give me a palette. And I'm actually going to use a blender pen. Now there's a chemical in this pen that moistens the tips. They're exactly the same. It does not matter which one you use. The tips do get stained with usage, as you can see here. It's just because of the dye. So don't let that concern you. It's just really important that it's clean before you use it, because you don't want to transfer anything you left over here to here, right? So I hold it sideways, and I pull and I roll to make sure it's running clear. Again, same side here. When you store these, make sure you store them this way, not this way, because all the chemical then will run to one end and making it really ugly to use. So this is my palette, so I'm going to take a little bit of ink, and here it's very concentrated because it came from the pad. So I'm picking up a little ink, and I'm coming over here, and I'm kind of going to water it down because I don't want it to be too dark. I want to try to control it. And then here underneath, I'm going to add a little bit of a floor, a little bit of a table area. So my blender pen allows me to spread that ink. Now this is regular white cardstock. If you were using watercolor paper, you would not have the problem that I'm going to explain. If you go too much back and forth, you're going to see that the paper will pill, which means you get little tiny areas of, looks like wear, like little tiny fibers that are raised. So you want to be just gentle when you're coloring on your Whisper White or Very Vanilla, unless you're using watercolor paper. So at least now we've got a little bit of a tabletop going on, all right? So I'm going to clean that, just like I told you that you need to do, and then cap it tightly, and then it's good for the next time, all right? So that teaches you a little bit about watercoloring. An aqua painter or a blender pen work really, really well. Now I've got some other pieces here. I'm pulling them out of my little tote. And one of them is this. It's a piece of real red cardstock. I know it's itty bitty, isn't it? I'm going back to my Memento pad and I'm pulling out the words from that same stamp set. And it says, "You're so sweet." Hi, Billy. I see you're here. I'm going to ink this up and I'm going to place that right here. And I'm going to leave a little bit of room. So I'm going to do this mostly to the side. I'm trying not to get my head in the camera. Am I close, guys? Tell me. I think so. Close enough, right? Well, it's not perfectly centered, but I think it's close. All right, I'm going to pick this up and I want to create a little bit of a banner tip here. Easiest way to do that is to take your scissors. I'm using my paper snips. I'm going to make a snip in the center of the paper. Do you guys see it here? And then what you're going to do is you're going to come from the outside edge to the top of the tip on both sides. So I'm going to come from here to here and here to here. And by making that slit first, you know what it does is it gives you almost a perfect banner tip every single time. Isn't that fun? That's easy. That's an easy way to make those tips, and you know what? They're really popular. All right, so we talked about this layer and how we didn't adhere it, and here's why. This was that piece we stamped in the very beginning with the Whisper White craft ink, and it's very subtle, which is what I'm after. I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to put a little adhesive on the back, and I'm adding dashes. Oh, these are maybe about a ½ inch or so, maybe an inch, along both sides of my paper. All right? I'm coming back over here to my cardstock, and I'm going to mount this, ready? I hate predictable, like this. Right smack dab in the middle on an angle. Why? Because we need something different every once in a while. We want some visual interest. Now you're going to see here we've got some sticky. So I'm going to keep that from ripping up my paper and my work surface by bringing in the silicone craft sheet. If you don't have this thing rocks. Adhesive will not stick to it, so watch. I'm pulling the snail on here, but look what happens. It literally will ball up and come right off. So you don't have to worry about working on here. So if you're trying to put adhesive on a really small area, you ready? Like this, it's going to work like a charm. So here we go. We've got this, and we're going to add a little bit to this little tiny strip all the way down the center of my paper. If you had done this here on your cardstock, you would have a sticky mess all over your work surface, which means when you go to put your card back on it and you go to adhere it, when you pull it up, that scratch paper can stick and actually stick to your project. It's just not fun. All right, so I'm working on this exact same angle, and I'm going to give myself just a little bit of a border here at the top. Do you see how I've got enough paper on both sides? I'm going to lay that down, and then I'm going to press. And remember, we talked about why we didn't mount this first, because look at the guide we have now to actually cut. Yep, love that. You can use your paper snips, but I'll be really honest with you, I hate gunking these up because you see I have adhesive on here. So these are kind of like a catch-all pair of scissors. So I'm going to use this paper as the guide, and I'm going to cut right across that edge and from the back. So cut from the back side. Let this be your guide for your project. I see a lot of people who want to cut from the front, and that's fine if you can actually feel it as you're cutting, but I find you can be way more precise from the back side. All right, so we're going to move on. We're going to put this base on here, but we're not quite done because we've got some fun stuff coming up that we're going to do to this. I'm going to add a little adhesive to my four corners, and I know some of you are like, that's not near enough adhesive. Yeah, it is. It really is. I love to watch my friends and my customers when we're stamping together. They cover the paper. How many of you cover the paper? Come on, let's be honest. If you cover the whole paper, send me a thumbs up and say, yeah, that's me. I'll confess. I cover the paper. So here we go. We've got the base of our card. Now remember, we have this image. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's add some dimensionals to the back of this, which are double-sided pieces of foam tape. So we can give this a little bit of a lift. All right, so I'm pulling this off. I'm going to do one in each of the four corners. I'm learning to be a bit more generous with these than I have in the past, and one in the center. And the reason is, Mom tells me that when they come through the mail and the postage machine, that oftentimes they come out really kind of saggy and tweaked. So I find that dimensionals really help keep your project looking really nice at the other end when it gets there. All right, so here we go. We've got this. I want to make sure I mounted it right. How many times have you put the crease at the bottom? Gosh, I've done that. And we're going to put this in the middle. So I've got a little bit of a corner sticking out on each side, here and here. And we're going to mount that. Remember those words? Well, I want a little bit more dimensionals, but how many of you noticed these brand new mini dimensionals? My new best friend. My new best friend. Love these. Look how tiny they are. No more do we have to cut these big ones in half. If you don't want to, you now can do this. So I'm going to put a dimensional here and a dimensional here. And because they're tiny and they're really inexpensive, I'm going to use another one here. If you find you're having difficulty getting the paper off, take your fingernail and press in the center. That little crease in the paper is going to help lift it right off the backing. So that's just a great tip for you there as well. So I'm going to take this. Oh, but you know what? Oh, I think that I have one more step, and I think I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to actually mount this here. Going to leave a little bit of my cup showing, a little bit of my floor showing. Okay, so we've got a little bit of an elevation thing going on here. Cute. All right, going to add a little bit of an accessory. I put these in a little Ziploc bag. They actually come in bubble packaging. These are the Regal's enamel shapes. You get two sizes of circles. You get stars and hearts. You can see I'm a big fan of these, right? And I am actually going to take the heart. It's got glue dot already on the back, so you don't have to mess with that. Don't you love that? And then I am going to put this right here because it says, "You're so sweet." So I'm thinking if you're sending this to someone who's sweet, that you probably like them. My paper piercing tool is also a beloved tool in my stamp room. That little bit of a tip lets me get up underneath those things where my fingernails can't. This is just a few bucks and you'll have it forever. All right, here comes the fun part. Ready? I've got two things I'm going to introduce. I'm going to add some clear Wink of Stella to my whipped cream because who doesn't like shiny, right? So I'm going to make sure my cap's on tight first, and then I'm going to pull the lid straight off. I've already primed it, and then I'm just going to fill this in. The clear Wink of Stella is a shimmer pen. So all you have to do is just literally brush it on. And because it has an alcohol base, it's actually going to dry really quickly. Can you guys see that? I don't know if you can or not, but ooh, is it pretty in person? All right, we got one more step. Hang with me because I've got other cards to show you at the end tonight. The final step is this. For those of you that don't know, are you ready? Now, of course, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. And I've got one that's completely dry that I'm going to show you. Fine tip glue. I'm going to reach down and grab that little scrap piece of paper that I had thrown away from the frame. Just like any other glue, I want to make sure that my tip is cleaned off before I start using it because I want to make sure I'm not going to have a big gloppy mess. The tip on this is really, really tiny, hence the word fine tip. So I'm just going to tap it and make sure that it's flowing because there's nothing worse than a whole glob comes out. And I'm good to go over here off camera, all right? Throw that away. Guess what I'm going to do? Are you ready? We are going to fill this cup. So I'm going to put glue here in the middle, and I'm going to take the tip of my fine tip glue, and I'm going to move it around. Because the tip is really fine, this is easy to do. So I'm going to glop it on, and then I'm using the tip to push it around. Any bubbles you get in here, don't fret it, because have you ever seen a beverage in a glass? It sweats. It's going to have air in it if it's carbonated, right? I don't know a beverage that doesn't have some bubbles on the glass itself or actually inside the drink. So don't worry about that. So I'm squeezing and spreading all at the same time. Oh no, look what happened. Don't you love live television? Things you can't control. I think I had this loose. All right. Oh my goodness. You know what? If we can't laugh at ourselves, then we can't laugh at anything. You ready for this though? I've got some really great news for you. I happen to have one that is dry, that doesn't have this, and here it is. So I did actually squeeze the glue out. Look, I had the lid loose. Darn it all. Oh my gosh. Mom, I'm going to send this one to you because you like everything I create, right? Oops, this is right. All right, you guys better be laughing with me. Send me some smiles and some laughs because I can't be the only one this has happened to, right? Oh my goodness. Note to self, make sure all of your leaky things are tight before you start. Oh, heavens to Betsy. All right, but just to give you an idea, this is the glue dry. Everybody's laughing. All right, good. I'm so glad that you guys find it funny. You know what? It happens to the best of us, right? Hey, I tried really hard. Look how good it was going. Darn. Okay. When it's dry, do you see how you get like a really fun, glossy finish to your cup with that little bit of a shimmer top? You get this absolutely fun, realistic looking card. Really, really fun. Okay, so we're going to take this mess, Mom. I'm putting that way over there because I'm going to let that dry and I'm sending that to you. All right, hold on, guys. I'm going to flip you around. Oh my gosh, I'm dying over here. All right, you know what's really funny? Before you do a live anything, you love mistakes, Cindy, right? I'm thinking maybe just needs a big glop of glitter over the top to make this work. Oh my gosh. All right, before a live event, you go through and you make sure everything's right. Your lighting, you get all your supplies out. I mean, at least I do. Doesn't it just figure? And it was so funny. I was just telling Bob the builder, who is my husband, the other day, you never know what's going to happen. Stuff is going to happen. It just happens. It's just all about being live. See, I'm no different than you. Make all kinds of mistakes. But you know what? Here's the beauty. It's just paper. We'll make another one, right? The good news is we do have one that's completely finished, and I think it is super adorable. All right, but I've got more cards to show you, and I'm really excited to do so. So let me flip you down one more time. My mom says she's going to send it back to me for my birthday. That's funny. That's really funny. Oh, you guys. All right, so I'm going to show you some more cards, and I'm going to talk to you about studio stamps in the mail really quick. Okay, here we go. Okay, there's that ugly view again. Oh my gosh, I'm laughing and I'm laughing. We gotta laugh at ourselves, right, gang? We sure do. All right, so let me grab this. Studio stamps in the mail is a way for you to stamp with me from home. You're gonna love it, and here's why. 8 cards are all pre-cut, ready for you to go, and wait till you see these cards. I'm gonna show them to you. Hi, Joy. The other thing is I include the stamp set, so you're gonna get the same stamp set that made this unblemished card, and it's photopolymer, so it's gonna be really easy to use. You get a video to stamp right along with me from home, step by step, and a PDF tutorial. So I've got those of you that like to read in pictures and those of you that like to watch, both covered, all right? In addition to that, you're also gonna get the crushed curry ink because we're gonna use that in the cards. I'll show you in just a second. And the brand new in color Berry Burst. Love, love, love this color, you guys. It's probably one of my new favorite in colors. So you're getting the stamp set, you're getting both ink pads. Pre-cut supplies for 8 cards. Are you ready for them? Okay, here we go. This is going to be the first one, and you're going to make 2 of everything. You got to love that. You got to love duplicates. I'm going to show you how to do the 2-tone drink. I'm going to show you a fun technique on how to get that blended drink look, and easy peasy. So all the embossing and cutting, all the accessories are included. Okay, ready? Who likes fun cards? Watch here. Watch here. Ready? So this card expands, and so does the greeting, and the card slides across the front. So this is just a fun sliding technique. Yes, designer paper, that amazing copper trim, it's all included. Everything's pre-cut. All you have to do is put it together. You're gonna love this one. All right, how about this? Fun celebration card, great for either weddings. How about a congratulations for a promotion or a retirement, or maybe even engagement. I think that's kind of fun. Again, you're gonna get the specialty acetate, all the rhinestones, all the fun stuff, and again, the video to do step by step. And how about this? How about this for some fun? I fell in love with this. Do you believe that these are the straws? I just connected them. If If you look closely, you can actually see them. Filled one, didn't fill the other. You'll get the sequence and you'll be able to make this really fun card. Friends, don't let friends whine alone. Yeah, great card for an encouragement or a sick friend, someone who just needs that little bit of love. So you'll make 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 of the cards, and of course you're going to get the ink pads and your stamp set. Okay, but let me flip you around and tell you one more thing. Okay, I'm back. I'm still cracking up over the glue. Okay, and you know, the stuff dries right away, so I probably can't put glitter on it, but that's okay. I'm gonna think of a way to embellish it. You know, here's my philosophy. If you can't hide it, decorate it. That's what I say, right? Okay, Studio Stamps in the Mail is not only a great way for you to stamp with me from home, but it also gives you all the tools that you need. So your inks included. You'll need some basic stuff, but you can get that right over on my blog. There is a button right here at the top of the Facebook page that says Learn More. If you click on that, it's going to take you to my blog. And right there in the blog, in the body of today's blog post, is all the information about Studio Stamps in the Mail. This kit, just so that I'm not supposed to use the word kit, I apologize. This package, this edition for Studio Stamps in the Mail is $48. That includes priority shipping. It will be mailed to you on June 24th. Ordering period is just for 1 week. So it's from today until the 18th. Lynn, you said you're late. Don't worry, it's recorded. You can go back and watch it. All right, so you've only got 1 week to order, and I guarantee to mail them no later than that following Saturday. So it gets me everything here and maybe pre-cut and get it all ready together for you. All right, you can click on the Learn More button, go right to my blog. There's also a tab at the top that says Online Classes. If you click that, you'll be able to see there's 2 options. There's Project PDF Tutorials and there's Studio Stamps in the Mail. You can click on either one of those, but it's just a way for you to stamp with me from home. All of my Studio Stamps in the Mail customers also get, are you ready? They get an exclusive invitation to join me for a private live event called Live with Lisa. I do it every month. My Studio Stamps in the Mail customers get it for free because they're purchasing their packet for the month. People who place an order of $25 or more in product are automatically included too. But if you think this is fun, this one's way better. I do several live demonstrations. You get a nice big bundle of tutorials, usually 7 or 8 every month. You're also going to get your name put in product price patrol. Whether you're live or not does not matter. You're automatically included. And of course, we have lots of interactive fun. I really hope that you'll join us for Studio Stamps in the Mail for June. If you've got questions or comments, please leave them below. Otherwise, I'm super glad that you guys have joined me tonight, even though I made a mistake, right? This makes me really human, just like you. It's just paper, so I'm just gonna make another one. You guys have a great night. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.